quorum. Call the meeting to order. Everyone. Mrs. Scully, call the roll. Thank you.
Yes, Chair. Thank you. Commissioner Jim Anderson. Commissioner Roger Anderson.
I'm here.
Commissioner Justin Cummings.
Here.
Vice Chair Manu Koenig.
Here.
Commissioner Rochelle Lather. Commissioner Eduardo Montesino.
Here.
Commissioner Alan Timms.
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Ed Banks.
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Zach Friend. Chair John Hunt.
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Fred Keeley. Chair, roll call.
We do have a quorum. And since Commissioner Rochelle Lather is not here, Commissioner Banks will be voting on any items until she arrives.
Thank you. Mr. Strano, do you have an executive officer's report?
Just briefly, just a couple of things. One is, as this commission knows, we are running this meeting under a hybrid approach. So commissioners will be here in person. Members of the public have the options to join us virtually or in person. For those that want to speak on any agenda item, they'll have up to 3 minutes. We'll let them know when there's 1 minute left and when their time is up. For any members of the public joining us in person, we'll ask them to reach the podium. And for those joining us on Zoom, you can click on the reactions tab and then click on the raise hand button. If you're joining us via conference call, then if you press *9, you'll have your hand raised. So that's the hybrid meeting process. Just got 2 more updates for this commission. One is at the LAFCO annual conference, which was well attended. It was in Yosemite. We had the pleasure to have Roger Anderson with us. During the banquet that was on Thursday night, LAFCO gave a number of awards. And this commission, for the first time ever, has been recognized for, we received the Innovation Award for our report on the Big Basin Water Company and the governance options. That is something that a lot of LAFCOs have requested copies of, because this is something that a lot of LAFCOs have not done, is how to help private water systems. Particularly, we did this for a Big Basin Water Company. The last time Santa Cruz LAFCO received some type of award was back in 2018. Pat McCormick won the Lifetime Achievement Award. And then back in 2016, former Commissioner John Leopold won Commissioner of the Year. But this is the first time that Santa Cruz LAFCO, this commission, has been recognized for your good work. So I'm really proud of that award that we received. The second update is there's some upcoming seat vacancies on our commission. In January, the City Selection Committee will be appointing a new representative for the regular member seat. As you know, the City Selection Committee adopted a new rotation process. So Watsonville and Santa Cruz will always be on LAFCO. They'll alternate between regular and alternate. It's a 2-year term limit. For the other regular seat, Capitola and Scotts Valley alternate. So one of them's on, the other one's off. We did implement this ex officio position. So at this point, Yvette Brooks from Capitola is the ex officio, and Alan Timms is with Scotts Valley. Your Commissioner Timms, your term limit ends in January. So the City Selection Committee is going to appoint someone from Capitola. I'm hoping that they designate you as the ex officio. That way, Scotts Valley is always in the loop, even though they're not officially on LAFCO. The next one is the district seats. Commissioner Jim Anderson and Ed Banks, I believe, your term limits end in May. So we're going to send out letters in early December requesting applications from any board members of special districts if they're interested to be on LAFCO. And then we'll start the election process in early 2025. We'll give a more detailed update on these seats later in early 2025. I just want to give you a heads up. And lastly, the county seats with their annual appointments and the departure of Commissioner Friend and the new Board of Supervisors, we may have new county representatives. I'm hoping that Commissioner Cummings and Commissioner Koenig remain on LAFCO, but the third person, time will tell. So those are the 3 updates that I want to give the commission. Chair, this requires no action. It's just an informative info.
Thank you, Mr. Serrano. We'll move to adoption of the minutes. Do any commissioners have any questions or edits for the minutes? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval of the minutes.
Moved by Jim Anderson, Seconded by Manu Koenig. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are approved. Do we have any oral communications from the public?
Chair, we do not have any requests here at in the chambers nor on Zoom.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So we'll move to special presentation. You have comments?
Just briefly, I was going to have a number of like photo collages of Zach over the years and some music, but I'm going to refrain from doing that. I just want to take a second to extend staff's appreciation for your leadership. When I think about how I got here, it really came from like you gave me a shot. And you didn't sugarcoat it. You're like, hey, don't F this up type of thing. And I really appreciated that because you call it how it is. And that's the type of leadership that I really appreciated. And I feel like we've been successful as a commission because of that type of involvement that you've been over the years. So I really appreciate it. I don't want to go into too much details. I do want to give Francisco a minute to also extend his appreciation before we defer back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Executive Officer. Zach, same thing as somebody that didn't know what they were getting into a couple years ago. You really provided a mentorship and friendship that really mattered and made an impact on me. So thank you for all your work and we'll miss you. Just want to say that.
Thank you. Any comments from commissioners?
Are you ready for them?
Rochelle, okay.
I don't know. I've known Zach from the beginning when he first became a board member because I was staff. And I always appreciated him, I always appreciated you, talking about you in a third party. Huh? Even your sense of humor. Sometimes I didn't agree with you and I'd tell you and you kind of put up with it. And now we've kind of changed our roles and I still do that. And you've always had a good sense of humor about it and listened even if you didn't agree with me. I appreciate it.
Koenig.
Well, Zach, this is going to be, I think, I'm going to say this many ways over many days over the coming couple of months. So the beginning of a long goodbye, but and of course, each time I'll have even more to say and go on, but may as well get started. I'll just say today, I think I'm always impressed, your ability and master of the parliamentary process. And I feel like you've always used that to help the group, whatever board or commission it is, to land on the best solution that we're going to get to as a group that day. I really appreciate that about you. And it's just led to many good outcomes over and over. And I'm going to miss you. And I'm glad still got a couple months together.
Commissioner Cummings.
So I'm expecting you in a few years to be running for president, given the outcome that we saw yesterday. I think you're a great candidate for it. But no, I'm similar to Supervisor Koenig. I mean, we're going to definitely be thanking you for all your years of service to this community. I've definitely learned so much from working with you, and we've done a lot of great work together, and you've done a lot of great things for this community. And just want to express my appreciation for your dedication to your time and energy towards not only this commission, but for all the things you've done in this community. And I'll have more to say. I mean, as a chair, I gotta save the best for last, you know. So I'll have more to say at your last meeting in December. But do appreciate you for everything you've done, and have enjoyed learning and working with you.
Commissioner Roger Anderson.
Yeah, just a couple of things. First of all, Zach, I'm very happy to have known you, and your service on this commission has been extraordinary. What I especially like is how you contributed to the congeniality on the commission. You're bringing your knowledge and your grasp of the various issues that we have. And what I really liked was how you could sort of tie the commission business with the background from the county. So that was very helpful and I really appreciate it. I just wanted to wish you well in your future endeavors and it's been great knowing you.
Commissioner Montesino.
Well, Mr. Friend, knowing you since the beginning through Metro to commissions and but one of the things that I think we friendship. You always provided that friendship, even when whether it was an elected official, or an employee, we had good conversations around a lot of different county issues, and you're a great advocate, and you'll be greatly missed.
Commissioner Jim Anderson.
Well, I started following Zach when he was with the city and the spokesman, and then I finally got to meet the man, the myth, legend, and it's been wonderful sitting on the board and learning from you. And as Roger said, you always had great input and stuff. So Godspeed in your new endeavors.
Commissioner Timms.
Thank you, Jack. Zach, I'm not really a mushy person, so I will just say thank you for everything you've done for the community. You do so much, and particularly with LAFCO. And I will be the first to have the Zach don't F it up t-shirts before you leave. So I wish you all the best.
I'd like to say I live in the 2nd District, and I've had the pleasure to serve on the Commission on the Environment as well. So I've had many opportunities to talk to Zach. And I was always amazed because even things that I thought I was an expert in, like water resources or climate change, I'd come in and I'd talk to Zach and he'd know a half a dozen salient key points that I had totally neglected or didn't know. No matter what the topic, you always had all the right information. I also want to mention that the resolution proclamation that we're going to present mentions your guitar playing in the band Blueprint. And I'm just sad that I was too young to buy tickets when you were.
Cue the music.
Oh, no, we're
And Chair, we do have a resolution of appreciation for Zach. We do need to do a formal adoption, but we did sign it already. It's already framed, so it's for you to as a keepsake. And I don't know, Chair, if you want to make a motion now, get that out of the way, and then maybe take a photo with Zach and let him on his merry way, or if you want to stay for the rest of the meeting, that's up to you. But I'll defer to you on what you want to do next.
I will entertain a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Get in there.
Motion from Commissioner Koenig, second from Commissioner Jim Anderson.
No,
All in favor?
no.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Montesino.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor, aye. Opposed, abstentions. Thank you.
So would you like to take a photo now? Or do you want to say any comments, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, the reward for this many years is I'm not staying for the rest of this meeting. I'll tell you that right now. And I would like to congratulate Commissioner Montesino on his really overwhelming victory last night. We should acknowledge when somebody here gets 97% of the vote, but also acknowledge the fact that 3% of the people literally wrote somebody in against.
Yeah.
So that. I think that one of the things that and I appreciate the comments, Roger, about the history, because, LAFCO was and has the potential to be, was a very contentious, dealt with very contentious issues, but the body itself was also contentious when I first got on. Over the issues, not the interpersonal dynamics associated with it, but it's been historically a very politically fraught fraught body, not just here, but across the state. And I think it's evidenced by the fact that people haven't been coming to the meetings. It's also evidenced by how the board has been able to navigate challenging situations, how the leadership has been able to navigate them behind the scenes and in advance in ways that are very positive. But it may not seem like it with how quick these meetings are going now, but the importance of what LAFCO does here in our community and across the state is really, really important. And we're hitting a dynamic based on the election last night, where I think that local, regional, and state bodies are going to play an outsized role in the community's expectation of delivering services in ways that they're not going to feel like they're getting from other places. And so I think that
that's a good thing, and that's also going to be a frustrating thing for all of you moving forward. But just expect it and deliver on it. And we've done some really, I mean, things that, I mean, think about the mergers that we've done over the last 10, 11 years, 12 years, and the fights that we've been able to have. But to Roger's point, I think that we landed all those planes very civilly, and I think that that's a lot to say. So that would be my advice moving forward: is find a way to do that, because there's still some stuff coming up that could. There's enough at the national level to divide that we need to find a way here to not have that same issue, whether it's South County growth or whether it's university issues. I think that, you know, we've got stuff coming down the pike that could be that way. But I appreciate I didn't even know we had a budget for a resolution, so I appreciate that too. I promise I won't be hanging it up. I don't think Tina would allow any of this stuff to be on the wall, but I'll take a photo. We'll do it. And Alan, if I had known back in the day, I mean, I wouldn't even be, if I had worked with him, I wouldn't even be here because I'd be a rock star. You know, I mean, this guy would have fixed everything I was doing. We wouldn't even have the problem. But Justin instead elected life for us instead of being rock stars is what we had. So what are you going to do? All right, let's do the photo.
right.
Appreciate it.
We'll just
Group up here. You want me to join up there, or do you want me to? Well, what's that photographer? Oh, everybody down a level? Okay.
We blew the resolution budget on this one, so. One, two, three. One, two, three, and one more. 1, 2. Thank you.
thank you. Yeah.
Okay, we have no public hearings items today, so we'll move on to other business, and we'll start with a presentation on Big Basin Water Company, an update from the Executive Officer Serrano.
Thank you, Chair. I'll keep this brief. As I mentioned, the award that LAFCO gave to this commission for our Big Basin Water Company governance options. There's been other updates regarding this situation. Staying with the LAFCO world, we actually had a breakout session at the conference that talked about private water systems, LAFCO's involvement, and ways to be part of a solution. We also focused on Big Basin Water and what's going on there. That was the first time I've seen in a long time where it was a packed room, where it was just standing room only. And they were there the whole entire time. So it was well received. We had representatives from the court receiver, Nicholas Jaber. He was on the panel, as well as Miss Lydia Rossier. She's from Moonshot Missions. She went over the kind of a statewide overview of private water systems and the report that we'll talk about in a moment. Also, J.M. Brown from Supervisor McPherson's office was on the panel. And again, we just had a really good conversation about the status of private water systems in California and how LAFCO can play a role in helping them be successful. Because while Big Basin Water is getting all the attention, it's not an isolated situation. So we want to prevent another Big Basin from happening. As I mentioned, Moonshot Missions is a nonprofit. Their goal is to provide forensic audits to any struggling private water systems, not only in the state but in the nation. And they completed their audit for Big Basin Water. It's like 150 pages. I won't go over it. It's very technical. We wanted to have Ms. Lydia present this report to you, but she had a conflict. But if this commission wants an in-depth presentation, we can definitely schedule it for our next meeting. But just to give you an idea of what this report covered, in LAFCO's point of view, it gave over almost 50 recommendations on short, mid, and long-term improvements to Big Basin Water, but more importantly, it identified alternative options, governance options for the residents to consider. And it's very similar to what we identified in our own governance options report. I'm showing it on the screen. The number one is and continues to be annexation into San Lorenzo Valley Water District. It's my understanding that the court receiver is continuing conversations with San Lorenzo Valley Water. That water district is also facing their own internal issues right now, but Moonshot Missions believes that they're still the number one alternative for Big Basin. There's a number of other alternatives to be considered. The difference between LAFCO's report and Moonshot Missions when it comes to the governance options is they do a deep dive on the pros and cons of each one and kind of provide that technical evaluations of why these are ranked the way they are. So again, I won't go into too much detail of it, but that is now publicly accessible. It is attached to your agenda packet. Next steps is LAFCO will continue to coordinate with the court receiver and Moonshot Missions in looking for ways to help Big Basin get back on its feet, whether it's through an annexation or some other type of governance structure. But that's something that LAFCO will continue to work on with the local and state leaders on that effort. So, Chair, this is an informational item. No action is required, but I'll defer to you and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any comments from the public?
Thank you, Becky Steinbruner. I got here just in time. The parking out there is really something. So thank you. This is really why I wanted to come to the meeting this morning, because I'm very interested in this Big Basin water issue, but the state's move to consolidate small privately owned water companies in general. The state has made that clear. That is their goal. And I'm a customer of one of those. So I want to say that I think it would merit a special meeting of your commission to have Moonshot Mission come and give you a full discussion of what their recommendations are and why. I also think that it would be a good thing for the community, for LAFCO to hold the drops, connect the drops workshop that you are required to do in your bylaws, but it hasn't happened for a long time. And I know Director Serrano has brought this to you to get it moving. I think it should move along quickly, and this would be the perfect topic. If Cal LAFCO's room was packed, Santa Cruz County's room will be packed too. And that would be a good service to the public. I'm curious why Moonshot Mission considers annexing Big Basin to Pajaro Valley Water Management Agency and not Scotts Valley Water. That's a curious thing for me. Those are my main comments. Thank you. Thank you for this update.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Becky.
you.
And Chair, I do have a couple of comments, if you don't mind. The potential annexation to Scotts Valley Water is an option. It's actually option number 3. They just didn't point it out. And when it comes to connecting the drops, that's something that LAFCO staff has continued to discuss with the county, and it seems like we're starting to get traction. So we're hoping to help host a modified version of connecting the drops, in addition to another educational workshop focused on private water systems. Staff is scheduled to provide an update on that educational workshop to the commission in either January or February. So we're still looking for ways to get more involved with the communities on discussing these issues. The other thing that I just wanted to briefly mention, Chair, is I misspoke. There is a recommended action is to receive and file this report. But again, I'm happy to answer any questions or open up for a commission discussion.
Any questions or comments, Commissioner Lathir?
So, the moonshot mission, people, there's some details in there that I don't think are quite right. And if I could talk to her, maybe that would be helpful. I don't know if I can do that on the side or not, but one of the things it said was that we've been serving water to Davenport since 2015. Well, I was in charge of that in 2015, and we'd been serving water to them for a lot longer than that. So I'm not quite sure where they got their information, but 2015 is when we upgraded the water treatment plant to be membrane. And but they were getting water before that with as a county district. So I was a little surprised that it said that. I think if they're going to put a date in there, it should be right.
Sure. I'm more than happy to provide you their contact information. I think they will appreciate discussing the report with you in more detail. And we are scheduled to do another like stakeholder group meeting. So I would love to include you in that meeting as well, just because you have that historical expertise. So yeah, we'll coordinate after this meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? Commissioner Roger Anderson.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Joe Serranos for his efforts on the LAFCO breakout session. I got there just about the time you started. I got the last seat, but then all these other people came in, and they handled it by bringing in probably 24 additional chairs from other rooms that weren't as popular as Joe's. But anyway, he put this together, and he did it in an interview kind of a fashion. So it was very effective, and I certainly appreciated it.
Great. Thank you, Chair or Commissioner.
Commissioner Cummings.
I just want to express my appreciation for the outreach opportunity, because, you know, just it really makes the commission's job a lot easier when, you know, people get a heads up, they get an opportunity to kind of know what's coming before them, before the decision is being made. Right. And then that way they can get their grievances out. We can incorporate that into our decision-making process. And so I just really want to appreciate you taking the time to go and host these meetings so that, you know, we can get input before, you know, we have a massive crowd in front of us and we're put in difficult positions.
Exactly.
And, yeah. So.
Exactly. I agree with you. And we want these private water systems to succeed, even though LAFCO doesn't have purview over them. And the last thing we want is to have the perception that we're forcing a consolidation on them. That's we've seen it. Our successful changes of organization is when the residents ask for that change, not the top-down approach. So again, I agree with you that these educational workshops will allow us to build a relationship with them, provide them information, answer their questions, and then they get to determine their future. And if that involves LAFCO, at least they know who we are, and it's not just an obscure agency that's telling them what's best for them.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we have a recommended action to receive and file this report. I'll entertain a motion.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Jim Anderson made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Cummings. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Okay, we have another business item, which is the multi-year work program update.
Thank you, Chair. This commission adopted its first multi-year work program back in 2019. That really laid out a game plan to make sure that we analyze all the agencies in our jurisdiction. In this case, at that time, we had 81. So our last service review was done, I believe, a month or two ago. And so now we're due to update and adopt a new multi-year work program. And I just briefly want to just provide you a breakdown of the local agencies that are under our purview. We now have 77. So it's down from our first multi-year work program. And that's a result of this commission's proactive approach of building relationships with the local agencies the affected boards and the residents. That resulted in, as Commissioner Friend mentioned, a number of consolidations, dissolutions, reorganizations, and most of them, if not all, with minimal to no protests of opposition from the residents. Why? Because we built that relationship. They determined that, you know what, this is a good idea. This will benefit us. We'll get a better level of service. So now we're down to 77. It is not LAFCO's goal to get rid of local agencies, but it is our goal to make sure that they're providing the best level of service. And that means exploring governance options. And this is the reasons why we're down to 77. Now, for in your agenda packet, we identify all the scheduled service reviews between now and 2029. Next year, we're scheduled to have 5 service reviews. One is the sanitation districts countywide. That's been an ongoing effort, and we kind of pushed the date because our goal here is not just quantity, it's quality. So we're really working with the agencies to provide a report that means something. And we're also going to coordinate with Commissioner later to make sure that it covers a detailed or robust evaluations of all the districts that provide sewer service. And then we have a couple more. The one that I want to point out is state law does require LAFCO to conduct a service review for the newly formed Pajaro Valley Healthcare District. We need to adopt it before the end of December 31st of 2025. So we're scheduled to present that service review to the commission in November. We're coordinating with the healthcare district to provide that analysis. But again, all the local agencies under our jurisdiction are scheduled to be analyzed at least once between 2025 to 2029. Staff is recommending that the commission adopt this multi-year work program. Chair, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions or comments from the public?
Thank you, Becky Steinbruner. I really appreciate your thorough reports. They're excellent, and I appreciate all the time that you put into making them the quality that they are. I'm happy to see the hospital district on the agenda because I remember that was kind of done upside down to what is usually the process. So with that being in the news, and I do want to comment, if it's appropriate, to the correspondence sort of related to that with the Imperial County LAFCO actions. But will I be able to talk about correspondence, Chair?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Then I'll hold my comments about that for then. I would like I don't remember seeing a review of the Watsonville Municipal Airport. And I don't know if that is because it is molded in within the city of Watsonville, but it definitely needs to be examined. And especially with the impending Watsonville City General Plan update, that they have stated they're going to close one of the runways in favor of housing production nearby. I think this is an issue that we really need, the LAFCO really needs to look at and to consider that the Watsonville Airport be funded by county-wide revenues, because it is the lifeline for our entire county in emergencies. So I hope that there will be a review of the Watsonville Airport very soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything online?
No, Chair.
Questions or comments from commissioners? Okay, we have a recommended action to adopt a proposed multi-year work program. Moved by Commissioner Jim Anderson, second by Commissioner Roger Anderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you. Our next business item is the LAFCO meeting schedule for 2025.
So we're entering the lightning round. So these next agenda items are going to go pretty quickly. So every year at the end of the calendar year, the commission adopts a meeting schedule for the next calendar year. The proposed dates are included to your agenda packet. It is shown on your screen. LAFCO staff did do a survey from the commission. We determined that January 8th, which is the second Wednesday, will be our next meeting date. It will be held in Watsonville. For all the other dates, we did submit a reservation form with the county. They were able to reserve this room for all of our meetings except June 4th. We tried looking at the second Wednesday, June 11th. It's also booked, so the chambers are not available. Based on the survey results, it appeared that the majority of the commissioners were open to having our commissions in another location. I believe that during that time, it may be appropriate to have our commission meeting at Watsonville again on the potential items that we may have in June. So that's something that we'll bring to the commission for further discussion. Unless the commission wants to take action now and say, yes, on June 4th, we will have it at Watsonville. I'll defer to the commission, but here is the proposed meeting schedule for the calendar year 2025. And staff is recommending that you approve this proposed scheduled dates. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any public comment? Questions or comments from commissioners? Commissioner Cummings.
Yeah. I mean, if Watsonville is an option at this point in time, I personally think that it's just in our best interest to give people, to let them know up front, where we're planning on scheduling our meetings. And, if it's not a problem with the board, I feel like we should just meet down there. So I'll move that we adopt the 2025 schedule with setting the June 4th date at Watsonville if it's available.
I'll second that.
Okay, I'm sorry, was that Roger Anderson?
Roger, yes.
That seconded Commissioner Cummings' motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, the next lightning round item is the comprehensive quarterly report.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a report we provide the commission to let you know what projects we're working on, the status of our budget, any meetings that are of interest for the commission. I just want to briefly mention that at the end of the first quarter, which ended in October, we already received 100% of the anticipated revenue. We are officially in the second quarter and we've already exceeded that. But just to give you a snapshot, and as in regards to our total expenses, we've only exhausted 21% of our anticipated costs for the fiscal year. So we are on track to having another year of a surplus. And I just want to show you our current fund balance at the end of October. We reached our peak. Typically, the end of October is when we receive the most revenue funds. So just under $560,000, we anticipate that we will end the fiscal year over $300,000. And normally what we do is we carry that over to the next fiscal year and we use that amount to balance our budget. We'll discuss this in more detail when we present the draft budget in March. But that may be the year where we may need to consider increasing our apportionments to our funding agencies. We've frozen our apportionments for the last 3 years. But it may be time to increase it. We'll bring that up for further discussions later in 2025. But as of right now, we are looking good financially. And Chair, that concludes our brief update on the first quarter of the fiscal year.
Thank you, Officer Serrano. Any questions from the public? Comments? Anything online? Questions or comments from commissioners? Okay, we have a recommended action.
This is an informational item, so no action is required.
You're right. Thank you very much. Okay. Next item is written correspondence. Is there anything you'd like to highlight?
We received two. Both of them were emails. One was from Mr. Douglas Deach. That is just information about his concerns about water supplies as a state water board. The other email was from Orange County, commissioner from Orange County. We're in interesting times with LAFCO. There is a fracture in the trust between LAFCO board and the member agencies, and I won't indulge on that. But we're rectifying it. I think we're moving in the right direction. But there's still some LAFCOs out there that are still are unsure of LAFCO's future. So that email kind of touches on that. And once the dust settles, staff will feel more comfortable providing an update of what's going on, but because there's still moving parts, I don't feel it's appropriate for me to provide more information. But that email kind of gives you an idea of the concerns that Orange LAFCO has. Chair, these are both informational items. No commission action is required, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Do we have public comment on the written correspondence? Okay, any questions or comments from commissioners? Okay, thank you. And I believe our second to last item is press articles. Is there anything you'd like to point out?
Nothing to point out. These are just articles that we found that may be of interest to the commission. It's also an informational item, so no action is required.
Okay, any questions or comments?
Thank you, Becky Steinbruner. That was it. It is an interesting collection of press articles that you provided for the commission's review. As I said earlier, the one that caught my attention was the healthcare district action, because it certainly has parallels to what our county has had happen. And also, like the Imperial County took a legislative action to gut them in, probably to get that going. What I want to point out that caught my attention is that it said in the article that there has only been one public meeting, one public hearing, when the legislation said there must be three, at least three. And according to the article, it seemed that there was only one, and in a certain part of the district. So bringing that parallel to Santa Cruz County LAFCO, I hope that you will also insist that there be regular public hearings regarding the Pajaro Valley Healthcare District that are held around different parts of the district. It's a fairly large district as well. And there may be some spillover with neighboring healthcare districts that I think has not yet been addressed. And it would be good to have the public weigh in on that. I noted that in the legislation, it seemed that the article, the members of the public that attended and participated felt it was being very rushed. That was written into the legislation. They had to come up with a finalized plan by yesterday. So again, they had not met the minimal three public hearings before that was finalized. So I hope that this county will do better, and I trust that LAFCO will oversee it for the best of public interest. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else online?
No, Chair.
Questions or comments from commissioners? Okay, the last item is commissioners' business. Is there anything anyone would like to bring up? Seeing none, I'll move to adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you. 9:52. I called it.